Hi, this is Dana Carvey, and this is the 10th anniversary of the Succotash podcast. I talked to my friend Joe Biden. Wait, what's the deal? Come on, it says here. Well, Joe, how do you know it's the 10th anniversary of Succotash? Because it says on the paper. The man gave me the paper and the sock. There's a mustache, dash. Thanks, Joe. How about you, Dr. Anthony Fauci?
You know, I've listened to the podcast, and I'll be honest with you, it's a suck fest. I can't take it. What is it, goulash? Are they cooking? What are they doing? And from the bottom of my heart, this is Dr. Anthony Fauci. Go fuck yourself.
Are you finally out and about after all these long months? Are you sick and tired of sheltering in place? Do you want to just rip off your shirt and say, hey, I like being alive, you know? Then you're just like us. Live from Studio P in Sausalito and a variety of undisclosed locations in and around Northern California, it's time for, yes, that's right, the Succotash 10-year anniversary show, featuring your hosts, the man with the eye for sound and the ear for the printed word, the man who's helped in so many cool ways to keep that big ball of Succotash rolling, Tyson Saner.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, and the man who sits at home in the studio and waits for Mark to send him pieces of paper, it's Joe Paulino. Hi, folks. It's rare to be here, and it's good to be here. Yes, and a man who needs no introduction. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, really, he does a little bit. The podcaster, the creator, the very creator of Succotash, the show, and all its various spin-offs, wherever the hell they are. Ladies and gentlemen, Marc Hershon.
Thank you, Bill Heywatt. Thank you, Bill Heywatt, live in our studio. Tyson Saner live in our studio, and Joe Paulino live in our studio. Multiple studios. Yes, absolutely. Welcome to the 10th annual. Yes, the 10th annual. This will be the only 10th annual episode of Succotash, the comedy soundcast. Yes, you heard me right. We are now no longer Succotash Shut-In. We are changing.
You're reemerging like the cocoon, aren't you? You're just
we are.
Coming right out. You're just floating like a butterfly.
It's like the show's been vaccinated. And we are going to, from now on, be Succotash, the comedy soundcast, which makes this the first episode of season 5. 10 years, 5 seasons, all happening right here tonight.
And you haven't aged a bit. Neither you, Mark, nor Tyson. You look just like you looked the first day I met you.
Thank you, Bill. You've aged terribly, Bill.
I know. It's been a rough time. I've been living alone, you know, and when I don't see anybody, it's just, you know, I've been using that thing that delivers alcohol and things. It's been I leave a $5 bill there for some person. I don't know who they are. They just leave a box of stuff, you know.
And they give you booze.
Well, I pay. I pay. Oh God.
Well, I'm glad you're still with us, Bill. That's fantastic.
Oh God. I've been sending him money.
Wow.
It's been so bad, you know. I mean,
it's nice you take care of him, though.
He never saved. He just blew it, you know.
Well, except, you know, he's got this job for what it's worth.
And I'm grateful.
Of course you are. Tyson?
Yes.
So you've been with the show almost as long as we've been on. I think you started sort of working with us like 2 years in. Maybe
something
it was even
like that.
Sooner than that.
I think it was late 2012. It seems like.
Yeah. So that would have been just inside of 2 years.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, an invaluable part of the machine that is Succotash.
Oh.
What brought you to it, Tyson? Just for the record, what brings you here?
Oh, well, my love of listening to podcasts on a regular basis started it off. And then I was recommended to listen to this show by Ethan Dettenmeyer of Combat Radio. I've been working with that show a little bit and making clips of their audio for YouTube videos. And so I found it online. I remember hearing Mark actually on Combat Radio, and then I went back and started at the beginning and just sort of listened up until I caught up with it, because one, I wanted to kind of know what had already been on the show, and I just kind of wanted to get a feel for it. I didn't want to. I had an idea. Well, he kept saying, people, if you want to send something in, that'd be appreciated. Right. And I thought, well, I could do that. I listened to other soundcasts or other podcasts. So, at the time I was still calling them podcasts, and I still do occasionally call them podcasts. Let's be real. But anyway, so that's kind of how that started. And then I guess after, it wasn't very long, maybe 4 to 6 months of, I think I submitted a few more things every now and then. I wasn't submitting not weekly. I wasn't submitting showly. Oh, that's not the term either. Is it? Showly.
It wasn't every show.
It was showly.
But you would send in a 1 or 2 or 3 clips, and you'd send like a little cut line about what the show was about and whatnot. And
I remember you being very much appreciated. Your name started coming up more and more. And I just remember that, that Mark really appreciated what you were doing for the show, and what you did and how you did it.
Yeah, because at the time, I think I was trying to get like 8 to 10 clips in a show. And so you were providing like a third of our content, most episodes.
Was quite a few clips. I do remember that, yes.
And Joe and I started doing the show kind of as an experiment more than anything, right? Our history is Joe and I used to work at the same radio station in San Francisco.
Oh, my God, back in 79, 80.
Yep, a million years ago, KSFO in San Francisco. And then we ran into each other. Was it?
No, I sought you out because I had come across these pictures. I had wonderful pictures of you and Gene Nelson and Eric Tracy and all the people who were on there at the Rubber Ducky Raft Race. And I had some and there was something that involved food and Victoria Station. Yeah. And so I got in touch with you because the internet was being able to seek people out was kind of a new thing. And so I sought him out because I wanted to get him copies of these pictures. And then we sort of remained in touch from that. And then various creative opportunities presented themselves. And, he's just so gosh darn well-adjusted and horrid to work with. I just keep coming back for more.
But yeah, we just said, hey, let's give this a shot and see what this will sound like. And
greetings, everyone. I'm Matt Weinhold from the Monster Party Podcast, and I'd like to wish a happy 10-year anniversary to Succotash, the comedy soundcast. When Marc Hershon introduced the concept of a comedy soundcast about comedy soundcasts, he was called mad. His theory was laughed at by the other members of the Soundcast Academy. But who's laughing now? Lots of people, because it's a comedy soundcast about comedy soundcasts. Let's give a shout-out to the rest of the Succotash team, including Bill Heywatt, Joe Paulino, Tyson Saner, Scott Carvey, and Kenny Durgis. I love you guys, but do you love me? I will not be ignored!
No, it's always fun. I get to try things that I haven't tried, and I love audio production. Getting to work with Bill and you on the Boozing with Bill. The stuff that you guys would drink, I just thought, oh man.
You know what? In fact, I will pop a Boozing with Bill in here. I'll track some of these down. I didn't do it in advance, but I'll pop it in here. We'll play an old Boozing with Bill, which will be fun.
Boozing with Bill.
Bill! Welcome back, Bill. Oh, dear. Bill Heywatt, time for another scintillating.
Those Demoriers are strong cigarettes. You ever smoked a Demorier?
I don't smoke.
They come in a box. They don't come in a pack, Mark. Come on over here, Mark.
It's time for...
How the heck are you, Marcus? I haven't seen you in a month or so. You're looking well. You're looking well.
Good to see you,
Very
Bill.
good to see you.
Yes,
Welcome to welcome to my laboratory kitchen here.
Yes, again, I neglected to notice that the bar was set up for today's
The bar is
show.
indeed set up. We've got little drinkies here. I got the mystery container right here.
All right.
I've got a little drink here, and I'd like to share with you. It's a very patriotic drink. It's very good. It's with barbecue time and 4th of July right around the corner. I've had this little recipe in my back pocket for maybe 60 years now.
Okay.
I got it from a guy I used to work with named Tookie Cronenbold. I met him when I was working in Parker, Colorado at KULU. They were going to call it KOLO, but it was taken, so they had to call it KULU, and they said, "You're listening to the Big Kulu," and that's what they'd say.
Oh, okay.
It was good, yes.
Wow, those were heady days of radio, weren't they?
I was working on a show called Hawk Larrabee. I was the assistant sidekick there.
Oh, really?
And it's got a little drink
You
here.
really have
I've had a stellar career.
I was going to say spattered history.
That's true. Now, we're going to start out as a drink. It's called... it's called barbecue punch.
Barbecue punch, all right.
And it starts out with bouillon cubes.
Those are bouillon cubes.
These are herb ox.
Sure.
Herb ox, bouillon cubes.
Quality shows. Oh, boy, look at that. Hot water.
Yes, there's a hot water right in there.
Well, so far, this looks like something I might make for myself when my wife isn't around to cook for me.
Little bouillon, that's good, yes. So we've got the bouillon here. And once the bouillon is in, so we have to get the barbecue sauce, not just any barbecue sauce. We've got Everett and Jones Super Q. Okay. So we take this, we get a nice teaspoon of barbecue sauce, and it's going to go in there. Put the barbecue sauce
in with the bouillon.
We got to stir it up nicely.
Again, I'm not seeing anything too problematic.
Nothing bad
this
yet.
is going to be a
yet.
cold winter beverage.
That's right, yes. Now we've got to just really get that
cube dissolved.
Oh, I didn't know it. It's going to take so long. Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm going to mush it up in there.
Don't worry about it.
Mush this little bastard up there.
It's mushing, Bill. Don't worry. It's all mushed. It's all mushed.
It's mushing. Very good. All right, then. Now, the secret...
Hey, do they have any kind of a Foley sound for bouillon cubes dissolving?
No, we got to make it live like we did in the old days.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now the secret here... We got a little bit of liquid smoke. We got Wright's Hickory Seasoning liquid smoke.
I'll tell you what. You know what goes sparingly with that stuff? Oh, there you go. Eyedropper. Yeah, I love liquid smoke, but have you ever used too much of it?
No, it's just it's bad. It's bad to you. It's bad for you.
It is liquid smoke, though, is what it really is.
Okay, so here it is.
Okay.
Little eyedropper.
Just a little bit.
One drop here. There we go.
Yeah, a little bit goes a long way.
There we go.
Good stuff.
Righty-ho.
Nice.
Okay, that's good. We got a little of the liquid smoke here.
Are we marinating something in this besides our livers?
No.
All right.
Now then, the kicker here.
Oh, here comes the heat.
Yes, here comes the true heat. Now we've got a little Jack Daniels.
Oh, boy.
Okay, now we got a jigger Jack.
Now, you know what? I've seen Jack Daniels barbecue sauce
this is
in the stores.
This
is different.
That's some weenies.
This is different.
That's for sure. This is the real thing, son. Okay. There we go. We got the Jack Daniels in there. This is barbecue punch.
Oh man, do we have the budget for a spit bucket in the studio? Because this is.
And of course, it wouldn't be a drink.
No, it's not done yet.
Without gardening.
No, you need
and we need some good old.
Hey, the studio phone's ringing.
I just have to let that go because I'm busy drinking here.
Oh no!
All right, have you ever seen one of these before, Ma?
Oh, look at that!
This is my grandmother's.
Nice. It's a woodpecker that picks up. Toothpicks.
All right, you're going to take the toothpick out. Now we got the little pearl onions here, and here it comes now. There we go.
Okay.
That's it. Oh, it's lost. It's sunk down. So I've never tried this before, but Tookie said this is good for you, and it's
you know what? I've never met a drink. I've never met a drink you haven't.
Here you go.
Tried.
It's barbecue punch. Wait, did I stir it enough?
Bill,
okay.
I am surprised because
be careful. Don't swallow the toothpick.
You're no stranger to the other side of the bottle.
That's right. Don't swallow the toothpick. But I've never tried this before. To your health, dude.
Cheers.
All right, now.
Who's with Bill? This could be the last one. Oh,
Jesus. Oh, no.
This recipe is not going up. Oh, man.
Oh, God, no. It's just terrible. Oh. Maybe the onion is good.
Oh, no. What are you doing? Oh, Bill's eating the onion, too.
Oh, God, terrible. Guys, this cookie fucked me.
Oh, man.
This is terrible.
Oh, man.
But, you know, I've always said It's bad to let good alcohol go to waste.
Let me try another
sip.
Try again. It grows on you, I guess. No. Oh,
I'm sorry. Please, I'm so sorry. I'm going to take yours. I mean, as I say, it's bad to let good alcohol go to waste.
I'm bringing beer to my barbecue.
Oh,
don't be offended.
It's got a kick to it, but it's not a nice kick.
No, it's like a mule kicking you in the back of the head.
In the front. Oh God! Wait a minute. The more I sit with this, the more I'm liking it. The more I sit with this, Mark, the more I like it very much.
Bill, you can have seconds because I'm not going to finish.
Oh my goodness, this is really something.
All right, you know what? You know what? There are people that are that are adventurous. I will post.
You will post barbecue.
Bill's barbecue.
Barbecue punch.
Bill's barbecue
punch. It's like I say. It's got some per box bouillon cubes, and just barbecue sauce. Teaspoon of barbecue sauce and
smoke,
a drop of liquid smoke, a jigger of Jack, a jigger of Jack, and a pearl onion on the toothpick.
Oh,
don't swallow the toothpick.
Floss again.
Oh, Lord.
Right on cue.
Okay, well, thank you.
Bill?
Oh, shit. Is there something I need to say, or can I just go vomit?
I think you can go until the end of the show.
Great. Who's next?
And I think, Joe, we did the first 20 episodes rightfully in Studio P.
Yeah, and that was fun. It was just a lot of work. I mean, I wanted things to be, 30 minutes or something like that?
60 minutes.
It can't be 30 minutes. It's got to be this.
60
I was
minutes
just
on this.
stuck in that mindset of how things should be presented. This broad, the broadcast
minutes.
aesthetic sort of thing.
Yeah, you want to hit 60 minutes right on the dot.
Forget that.
And then, so you remain our producer and chief engineer of the show. You've always been...
you followed the trend and learned how to do it yourself. But I mean, I would have to say that I just remember walking through the courtyard with you and Dana and thinking like, wow, that's really cool. Look at what I'm doing. And he's really a nice guy. He's coming into my toy box, and we're going to make some noise. And he was totally up for it and so easy to work with. And, the time when we had sort of the Carvey round table, I mean, that was very special for me, and that he was so easy to work with and so approachable. I just thought, wow, we're going to have fun, and we did.
Yeah, and he was our very first live guest as well.
That was good.
That was episode 3 of this show. The first 2 were horrible experiments.
I don't know. I would say they're noble experiments.
Yes, noble experiments. Better word.
Yeah. I mean,
but Tyson, what? Because you've got another podcast that you've been doing now for 5 years, the Antisocial Show.
Almost 5 years, yeah.
With another friend of Succotash.
Mm-hmm. With Hunter Block, yes.
Hunter Block.
What's up, my people? Hunter here, and I want to wish Succotash Comedy Soundcast a very big, awesome 10th anniversary. This show is jam-packed, filled with awesomeness from different audio clips, from interviews. This show has something literally for everybody. Tyson Saner, Marc Hershon, the coolest cats on the planet, thank you for making me a part of this special occasion. Guys, happy 10th anniversary. And everyone out there in Soundcast land, come check these guys out. Let's continue to pass that Succotash. Be healthy, be safe. Peace.
So how is it for you to be doing 2 shows simultaneously?
2 podcasts?
2 podcasts. Well, one podcast and one soundcast.
Because I also have a show on YouTube that I put together occasionally. But it is...
What's that?
It's called Tyson Saner Gamer.
Okay.
Tyson Saner : Gamer. Because I thought it sounded nice and pretentious. I just play video games and comment on them as I'm trying to figure them out. Some of the games I've never played, and some are games I have played and just want to share.
What do you do with the game you've never played? What's your strategy? I mean, in a nutshell.
Just try to figure it out. Really, I've been kind of playing for a good amount of time in private, and gotten used to. Getting used to the control scheme is usually the most challenging part, depending on what kind of game it is. But,
sure. Do you read up on it first? I mean, I know that there's publications that will have I don't know if they're like how-tos or just at least some sort of orientation.
Sometimes I will watch a review, which doesn't usually give me an idea of control, but it gives me an idea of what to expect. And sometimes I'll listen to another soundcast that actually reviews games that are the worst and weirdest.
The worst and weirdest. That's fun.
And sometimes just wonderful. It depends on what they're odd and notable games is what they really are, but they like to call it the worst and weirdest, or they used to. It's how did this get played?
Yeah.
Their sister show, of course, being How Did This Get Made?
Yeah, I think it's been clipped before on this very show.
How are your thumbs? Do you get? I'm just curious.
They still work.
Is there some kind of repetitive motion thing you got to be aware of, or any kind of limbering, stretching exercises you do?
Surprisingly, no.
Because there is for drums and piano, there are some specific stretches that I have to do to keep from getting shooting pains.
I think having played guitar somewhat since around the age of 14 has probably helped with a certain amount of finger strength, I guess.
All right, good.
I don't necessarily play that well, but it's...
Yeah, but still, the act of playing.
And the other thing that the other production Tyson's had since he started this show is he's become a dad.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is that something that you ever expected, or is that...
yes and no.
Okay. You can expect it in the general, but the specific is what you're in.
I'd always been curious and about the idea of it before I was married. I got married kind of, I don't want to say late, but I got married close to 30, and then my dad got married closer to 20. So there, in my head, there was this sort of false expectation that you're supposed to kind of do this at a certain point in life.
It's a different world, man. It's a different world.
Totally.
Different people.
So I just waited a little while, and then finally it was like, we should really do this if we're going to, and I want to, so let's do this, and we did, and he's great,
Hey, all right. 5 years say that, 10 years say that, 15 years. May this child always be great in your life.
And how old is he now?
He is, let's see, he's 2 and 2 months old.
Very nice.
Hey, I just think, and your child's name is what?
It's Jareth.
Jareth. I drink a toast to Jareth.
Thank you, Bill. Mr. Heywatt.
Bill loves toasting.
Oh, I love toast. Name that movie.
Yes, producers. Come on, Bill.
Now, Joe, you've been involved in so many different kinds of productions, audio productions, video productions. And,
it's been I've been very fortunate, And one thing that we did that was very interesting is I can't remember how many weeks, but it had stopped because I ended up getting a job. But I was doing this thing that was called the vinyl word. And I would invite people, and they would tune in on Zoom. Yes. And I would find, comedy records, strange spoken word, and I would play them. And it was some, we got Richard Pryor, we got Firesign Theater, and we got, National Lampoon, and just whatever. And I got my disc washer out, and I would just focus the camera on the turntable, and then I would make this big flourish of flipping the record, and so that I did the vinyl word for a while. That was kind of fun.
It was very entertaining, shut-in entertainment.
And I would play like stuff from the '60s, and Bob Newhart and stuff, and Bob and Ray, and it was all kind of fun to check that out. And then sometimes things would skip. Shit, and that was kind of fun. And now I do this way, and we sign off. The other thing, I'm working with this. We're trying to do music online, and everybody knows with Zoom there's this trouble of latency. And I was taking classes at the College of Marin, and then COVID hit, and we were doing this on Zoom, and it sucked loud. I was talking with the guy who is the conductor. He conducts Marin Oratorio, which is Battleship Chorus, and then like orchestra and stuff. And he said, I can't do this. I can't do this on Zoom. And I said, well, if you get a rehearsal pianist in one corner and you in the other corner, and I'll be in the back with a camera, and we'll Zoomcast. And we did that for a semester. And then I learned about these Jack Trip virtual studio devices that allow you to sing together or play music together in almost real time. And I've learned a great deal about it, and I can talk about it to your heart's delight. There's a great podcast out there about it with Mike Dickey, who invented it, and Malcolm Gladwell, the notable author, and in 20 minutes they talk about what it is. And I've got choruses of people, 16 people singing a song. There's a thing on Zoom, when you first get on Zoom and you see gallery view for the first time, it's like, oh, there you are, this is great. And then everybody else, when they were singing, it was like, oh, we're singing, this is great. And I'd always have them sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat with me, because it was like the stupidest song I could come up with. But they could get a sense of what the latency was. And she said, they all say, this works, we can do this. And, I did some bass, guitar, keyboard jams with some people, and it was very satisfying. So that's what I've been working on. It's been crazy,
Very cool. What was that podcast with Malcolm Gladwell called?
Yeah, it's called Solvable. It's part of a series called Solvable.
That sounds familiar.
And I love Gladwell, and I just think he's so engaging and has a lot of good opinions and very well expressed. But Mike Dickey is a tech guy who I think is very charismatic and very clear and very dedicated. And it's weird. It's like I'll send him, it's like, Mike, I can't log this box and I have nothing but trouble. This thing, fuck this thing, and he'll say, here, Joe, do this. And then I'm listening to this podcast with him and Malcolm Gladwell. So he's like really high tech and very soft touch. And that's a really great combination.
Hello, young lovers. It's Davian Dent here from StrangeTimesShow.com. Very, very happy congratulations-y 10-year thing, anniversary, as I believe the cool kid said, to the Succotash Show, the comedy soundcast. How wonderful is that? 10 years. Can't believe it. I'd personally like to thank Marc and Tyson for all the support they've given my shows the last few years. Actually, about the last 8 years or so. So, yeah, big up yourselves. And a special big up for good old Bill, the booth announcer. You mad bastard. Here's to the next 10 years. Keep rocking, keep rolling, and I managed to get through the whole of this without saying the word cunt. Damn it!
A lot of people don't know, at least listeners to this show, don't know that, Joe, you have a long history of doing voiceover.
Yeah, I've kind of retired from that, I think it's retired from me. But I can think of all the things. I can say, I tell you all the things I used to do, But I think, what I say, that the landscape changed and my perspective to the landscape changed. And it's a different world, and I think folks before me had to confront a changing landscape on the business front, and some of them did very well with that and found other things to do, and some did not. And so I also had surgery. Where they took flesh from inside my mouth. And it made it difficult to articulate with these railroad tracks on the inside of my cheeks.
Yikes.
Oh, man. I felt like I didn't know my instrument anymore. It was like being a trumpet player. And wait, who gave me this wooden mouthpiece? So it's better now. But, it's like I could say this, man. I did 3,500 McDonald's commercials, at least, and
that's amazing.
I never really worked directly for McDonald's. It was always for an ad agency. And I'm still in touch with all three of the producers, one of them, the last producer, and the engineer, too. Like, just delightful people. The Midwest is like this one of the few people I'm still in touch with from my working days is someone from the Midwest. And there's this straight shooter, heart of gold, That's that Ohio thing.
That's nice.
Well,
Nice to hear.
Another thing that we started within the first year of the show, and I've been flipping back here trying to figure out when it was. I think it was at least somewhere in the episode in the 20s, and it wasn't regularly every week, but we started doing the Burst O' Durst.
Yeah.
supplied by Mr. Will Durst, which was a 2-minute commentary, political commentary. And Will was supplying us with those all up until last year, actually the fall of 2019, when he suffered a stroke.
You know, I had to, if I may, I'll just say, I think that Will is a national treasure. I mean, I really, he's a stand-up guy, and he's fun to just off stage, just talking with him and talking with Deb, just really with nice people, you know. But he's got he could use a little love, and I don't think I would be out of line to mention that there is the GoFundMe page. To really help him with his rehab, because he's recovering, and you know the key in that recovery is really being able to do the rehab, and it's not simple. It does require a certain investment, and
we will republish the email address or the link for that GoFundMe page on the blog entry for this episode, and we'll put it up every week. Just to help him out, and I've not talked to him. I've had a couple of messages from him through Debbie, his wife, and he is on the mend, but it's a very slow process.
It really is, and it's different for everybody, man. You know, I mean, because it's such a you never know where it's going to hit, and it's going to in that matrix.
But he has been speaking. He did he's done a couple of podcasts with Willie Brown, the former mayor of San Francisco.
Now, since this, that's beautiful.
Yes, they've got a couple of Will and Willie shows have hit the pod waves. Wow! In fact, I'll clip one of those when I get a chance coming up in an episode.
I'll have to look for that.
But Will was very generous. He would do these columns starting out for papers that he would syndicate. And then he started doing an audio version. And I said, hey, I'll play it on Succotash.
Will Durst here. I love that voice. God.
And he would just, he was charging for it, but he didn't charge us for it. I said, hey, if we ever get... I kept trying to sell like a sponsor for the Bursto Durst segment, but couldn't do it. But always very generous with his time. And we wish him continued recovery.
Yes, absolutely.
Joe Biden is the perfect guy to follow Trump, because Joe Biden is boring. You know? I'm sorry, but there's no more chaos. It's going to settle down. If we can get rid of this pandemic, it just to see the light at the end of the tunnel is one thing, but just get the deaths under 4,000 a day. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I listened, Will, to his comments yesterday when he walked all of us through from his president-elect perch on how well he understands.
Can you get him out of Wilmington, for Christ's sake?
Yep.
He doesn't have to go to D.C. Just get him out of Wilmington.
That's the new White House.
I think he'll actually use Camp David and not just for the golf course.
He's from the state in which the population is smaller than the city of Oakland.
Yeah, but not the corporate headquarters.
Yep, it is, of the world. From America's perspective. Everybody says, I'm a Delaware corporation, period. And he has made Delaware more relevant for all of us than ever.
I mean, all during the campaign, every time you heard about him, he was in Wilmington. And now, for the last 3 weeks, he's been in Wilmington. Have him go on a triumph tour, and visit the states that put him in.
And go Giants. You'd be hard-pressed to find Giants fans more passionate than Will and
Debbie Durst. Yeah, I think Debbie is dressed in Giants orange and black year-round.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she loves it.
Painted. She's a constant sort of Halloween, because one half, it's weird.
Yep.
But she would actually paint herself like that. It's kind of like Goldfinger, but different.
So it's been an interesting ride because, we started the show. I don't know if you remember this, Joe, but I decided to start the show, and Tyson and I have talked about this a bit, but because in 2011, podcasts had sort of come in around 2005, maybe 2006. Okay. Ricky Gervais had one.
Yeah.
One of the first ones. And then there was sort of a tapering off of both sort of the content, because the people that had started doing them were getting tired. They've been doing it for 4 or 5 years at that time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people hadn't listened at that point. I think the figure was like 15% of people in North America were aware of podcasts, but not even that amount had listened to them.
That's really interesting. I mean, that would mean like the first generation put their best stuff out there to no audience, right? So exactly, you're working really hard, and the creative thing took off before the idea of it, before there was an audience, before there was really an audience for it.
I remember some of the earliest I listened to were when Adam Carolla started his up.
Wow.
After losing his radio show.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to a few of those not long after they had been published. Smodcast was one with Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier, well at the beginning.
Yeah.
Who was that guy that he just was doing some stuff for a while and then he absolutely disappeared? And I remember being on the floor and saying, like, what's in my medicine cabinet?
Oh, my gosh.
It was like Lexapro. It had this really strange, this wonderful dry delivery,
Huh. Was it Brody?
Brody.
Because he used to take Lexapro, I think. Lexapro.
Brody Stevens?
No. He had this really strange kind of delivery, and it was very dry. I got to look back. I better have some of that stuff in my own personal Succotash archives.
But we started to do the show to try and beef up comedy soundcasts, because I wanted to do a comedy soundcast, and I couldn't think of a concept. So I said, why don't we plug other people's comedy soundcasts? And this happened very early on, because I remember I had to have you do this, Joe, but I got this complaint on Twitter that I had clipped someone's show without their permission.
Yeah, I remember that. It sounded like somebody really needed something to do.
It was Doug Benson from Doug Loves Movies.
Yeah.
And he sent me a...
you kissed and made up, right?
Eventually, yeah. But he sent me a direct message on Twitter and said, hey, did my producers say you could use this? And I said, no, people generally are pretty happy to have us plug their podcasts.
Yeah.
And he said, well, my stuff doesn't work like that. It's very long form. And it's like, long form? You do like movie trivia contests. What are you talking about, long form? And I said, okay, so I had you pull it out.
Right.
And I reposted the episode. And then about a year later, I ran into him at the first Los Angeles Podcast Festival down in L.A. And I was introduced to him, and he goes, oh, you're the guy with that Succotash show. I said, yeah, that's right. He says, you can play my stuff if you want.
Yeah, because nobody's really beating down your door, man. Like, let's all be family,
Hey, Cole Stratton here from the Pop My Culture podcast that ended several years ago. Wow, 10 years of Succotash. Congratulations, and thank you for the 63 pairs of Henderson pants that I've received over the years. I really appreciate them. On behalf of myself and Vanessa Ragland, here's hoping for 10 more years, assuming that podcasts are still a thing then. Congrats.
Hey, this is Ed Wallach. I was just calling in to congratulate the Succotash show on their 10th anniversary. It's really hard to believe that just 10 years ago I met this little show down the road, right down the coast from me, and got along. Next thing you know, I started doing a podcast. Then a friend started doing a podcast. It's kind of a trend-setting thing you've got going there. And thanks to Marc Hershon and the Podfather and Succotash show. Happy anniversary.
Mark, listen, we've been under sheltering in place for so long now. What have you been up to during these horrid times?
Well, going into shelter in place, Joe, we worked on another podcast, which we have since featured the pilot episode on Succotash, for Sleeve Talkers.
Yes.
The overnight crew of the Secret Service at the White House.
Yes, it's a reason they work graveyard.
One of our favorite stories, I think, was Joe and me out in the street outside Joe's house.
God. That was so much fun, Mark.
With a recorder. We were trying to get the sound of a submarine hatch.
Yeah.
submarine.
I love trying to. I love doing sound effects. I will use sound effects records, but there are times where I know, we'll get this great sound. So we went out with a little portable Zoom H4 recorder, and we went out to the where the water meter is, and I'm out there and I'm trying to make it sound as loud as possible. And all of a sudden, the lights to the front door come on, and my wife's going, "What the hell's going on out there?" In her best big girl voice, and I'm like, "Oh, honey, it's just us.
We're a submarine hatch.
Making a submarine hatch. Oh, okay, all right. Well, leave the place the way you found it. Thanks. It's okay."
I want to kind of segue back over to Tyson's story, because I'm going to say probably 7 years into the show, I was working on a couple of writing projects, and my time was getting a little bit tight, and I was getting kind of tired of cutting stuff, and Tyson was doing a lot of the clips anyway. And I was going to hang up the whole show. I was just going to, in fact, I think we did a final show.
We did.
At one point.
Wow.
And then I said, I called Tyson up. We had one of our late night Skype calls.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And I said, would you have any interest in sitting in the big chair and hosting this mother? And fortunately, he acquiesced.
Well, I was really grateful to be asked. I hadn't really ever thought of doing hosting. I believe I was sending in about three clips per episode, roughly. That was my, I think, standard contribution. That was an amazing experience. There is a big difference between finding 3 shows to clip, maybe every 2 weeks, to listening to enough soundcasts to make clips from 6 shows at least. Yeah. So I found myself listening to so many different soundcasts, so many more than I ever would have imagined that I would have. I probably have that Gladwellian 10,000 hours of listening.
So let me ask, when you're listening to podcasts, how much time do you give it? I mean, is there a pattern where you say, if they don't grab me by the first minute or the first 3 minutes, or what's your criteria for dumping on something, and what's your criteria for using something?
Well, so it's a good question. I will generally tend to listen to an entire episode.
Okay.
Often my gateway will be listening to hearing a person on another soundcast. Maybe they will mention one that they've heard of, or maybe they will be a guest on a previous one that I'm listening to, but I've already clipped recently. Right. So I'll listen to something else that they've been on because I'm already kind of familiar with their cadence, their contribution, what they sound like, whether or not they're going to be telling stories, that kind of stuff. And then I'll listen to the entire episode, and I have now I have my phone that I listen to on, and this is not the monolith, although it does kind of look like it.
Close, it sure does.
It really does. And there's a screen capture function. So I'll be listening, and I'll go, oh, that's an interesting bit of conversation, and I'll kind of run it back a little bit sometimes. And then when it gets to that part of the conversation I want to clip, I'll take the screen capture. So it just makes it easier to go back and look for it. So Now I have definitely listened to a couple recently that I was like, I don't know if I can clip this. There's not a lot here. So I'll listen to pretty much anything. Here. Yeah. I mean, there's not, 3 to 5 minutes, and if there is, I don't know if it really gives a good indication of what the show is going to be like. And sometimes every now and then there have been people that have gone into some weird territory and rants, and I've been like, well, I'm not sure I want to direct people to listen to this. Doesn't happen very often, but it occasionally it did. It kind of gives me pause.
I have to ask, I mean, for the other side, I mean, content is one thing, but as a guy who really loves microphones, how do they sound?
That's a great
do they
question.
sound like saggy old MP3s? Are they crisp? Do they overmodulate? What do they sound like?
Oh, the shows.
I'll tell you from my perspective, as we've gotten more and more into podcasts or soundcasts becoming the purview of big corporations, churning out shows with famous people you've heard, and also people they've discovered that had their own shows going, and then they've sort of absorbed them. The audio can be really, really good. I mean, high quality, top notch. And then there's still the guys that are, three dudes in a basement somewhere doing a show.
Right. Yeah.
And it sounds about as good as you'd expect.
Well, some basements are pretty nice.
That's true. That's true.
What's
your experience, Tyson, in terms of their audio quality?
Oh yeah, it runs the range of and there are some pretty good people. Mostly, I try to get the audio up to. I use a compression on it, so if it's too loud or too soft, it usually kind of meets a particular level. So it's usually a -6 decibel compression, essentially something really simple, and that kind of tends to push the sound together just enough to where
that's great. That just softens your peaks, man. That's good.
That's the only thing I'm trying to do.
I do that a lot too. I might roll off some of the low end too, because I just think it's not going to be picked up by most speakers anyway. Not much, but I just roll off with my below 70 or 70.
What are you guys talking about right now? Makes no sense to me whatsoever.
I know. I love it. I love talking to people who know more than I do about that stuff.
Believe me, I barely know what I've been learning. I've been trying to learn this stuff for years now. On my own. So.
Yeah, good. Go on, man. That's beautiful.
Pardon me, I couldn't help but notice, but is that Succotash that you're passing? Specifically, is it the 10th anniversary of Succotash? 10 years of Succotash. Holy f***ing shit. I don't think I've stuck with anything for 10 years. I'm Travis Clark, by the way. I used to host a show called Tiny Odd Conversations. Then I hosted a show called Quick Question, and now I occasionally host some of the music-related shows over on the Unpops Network. See what I'm saying? I can't commit to one thing. All of those shows have been independently produced, and all of them have received an unbelievable amount of support and encouragement from Succotash. Succotash has been indispensable in helping me find new shows that I want to listen to, as well as helping new ears get onto the shows that I've been making. So I want to give out a heartfelt congratulations for 10 years of Succotash. I want to give out a heartfelt thank you for all of the great experiences I've had because of Succotash. I have a great friend now named Marc Hershon that I met by doing podcasts/soundcasts and then getting featured on Succotash. And then, look, the internet's weird, man. Do you know how many crazy people I've met on the internet? Way too many. Do you know how many great people I've met on the internet? I can name them. Marc Hershon. End of list. That's it. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Team Succotash. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting the good fight. And keep passing the Succotash.
To grab that question from Tyson about how do you clip shows, because my methodology is a little different because, I review shows for vulture.com.
Anybody give you $5, man? Give me $5.
Hey,
I'll get you show.
Anyone,
give my show
pays,
for $5. $5, you get on my show.
Anyone want to pay? You are on Succotash. You want to co-host Succotash? Give me $5.
That's for sure.
I'll have you on the show with me. That's fine. But because I'm reviewing shows every week for vulture.com podcasts.
Oh, nice.
I'm exposed to a ton of them, not just the ones I'm trying to listen to figure, well, what am I going to review this week? But also there's 4 or 5 other reviewers on the column that I review. So I read their reviews of what they've been reading. And then I get all these emails from podcast producers and podcast PR people, and all this mail comes in every week. So I've got this unending cascade of places to go listen to. But in grabbing the clips, I just don't take the time to listen to the whole show. I will listen to the beginning of the show, listen to like the first 3 minutes or 5 minutes to hear how the hosts kind of get into it and what their theme's like and that sort of thing. And then I will put the thing up on screen in Audacity, which is a low-end audio program, and
free.
What's that? It's free.
It's free.
And I will look at the sound waves. Is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm. That's what I call them.
Sure. And I just look for where they dip down, and I figure that's either the ending or the beginning of a bit. And I'll jump in there and
that's
start.
Very good.
And I'll go in like 15 minutes into the show. So I'll go, okay, so they're rolling.
Ooh, nice.
Let's see what happens. And then I'll go from 15 minutes and just kind of skip around. And when they finally hit something that sounds kind of funny, I'll listen to that and I'll mark it on Audacity. I might mark 2 or 3 different places.
The sound waves do give you valuable cues.
Yeah, and then I'll
clues.
And then if I find, I need something to go 3 to 5 minutes.
Right.
And then I just slice that part out and just put it up because it's just way faster. And sometimes I'm like picking my clips like literally the day I'm recording it, which is like a Monday.
I'm doing a thing with a chorus now. I mean, the traditional traditional. It's these COVID-19 virtual chorus where we've sent a guide track, which would be like the piano part and then someone playing the melody on top of that. And we send that to everyone in the chorus. And then they send the clips back to me recorded on a separate device. And then I throw them in Pro Tools. And then I try to line everybody up. And it's amazing what you can do with sound files. If someone's going, ooh, and you need like, another 0.2 of a second, you can go like, ooh, and then get that ooh to go. I mean, oh my God, I used to love editing like audio tape. Now to edit in Pro Tools, it doesn't save you any time, but it gives you so many more options. It's so
non-destructive.
Non-destructive
editing. That's the other thing. Yeah, and God, I've spent hours really, back in the day, I spent hours crawling on my knees going, could it be this piece? Does it go this way or does it go this way?
Happy 10 years to Succotash. This is Jabs from Boganwood and D-Ed Factor. I remember the first time I heard Succotash, I'm like, who's that American dude and how do I buy a gun? But then I realized he also had a comedy show. And I thought, I'm funny. I'm going to start my own comedy podcast. And as you can see, because of all the fame and fortune of Succotash and the 10 years of service that they've provided, we are now superstars. We're actually too good to even be on Succotash. That's how good we are. But we love you, Marc Hershon and Tyson. Happy for another 10 years. And I heard that you had a popular Australian guest host on Succotash recently and a couple of years back as well. And maybe he might make a repeat performance. So happy 10 years to Succotash. And what's the old Bill Heywatt segment? Drinking with Bill? I might go and do that. I might go and find what Scotch bottles I have left and suck out whatever dregs are sitting in the bottom of it. Happy 10 years, Succotash, and here's to another 10.
Hello there. This is Dominic. I'm a co-host on a little podcast over in the UK called Strange Sound Show. Not sure if it's reached over there. Except I am, because you glorious bastards on Succotash have been so kind and featured us a couple of times. So, 10 years of Succotash. That's incredible. Tyson, Mark and everyone else involved, congratulations, you're doing a marvellous job. You're spreading the word of the lesser-known podcasts like Adam Buxton, but you're pimping the big boys like Strange Sound Show whenever you can, so that's always good. So thank you for the content, for 10 years of listening. You use the word soundcast too much, that's just my personal bugbear, but I think it's a brilliant show, and please continue forevermore. Love you.
When we started recording in the studio there, you wanted to record in real time, so I would have my little script, and
I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool to do that.
And I would intro the clip, and then you would literally play the clip, and then I would come out of the clip, and then you would spend time after I went away to kind of make that all neaten up and make it sound nice. And sometimes there were like little musical beds going in and out of the clips. And then when I started doing it on my own, I was going, I can't do that. I have no idea.
Well, I just thought, okay, here's my opportunity. Because when we were at KSFO, we got to hear, some of the best aspects of produced personality radio. Yeah. And we would hear things from time to time. And then the things that influenced them, they would also play, and we would hear those things just hanging around. And so you'd hear what that flow was. And you know, I think, you know, I aspired to try to do something like that, and the challenge of doing it in real time. I just thought, if I can do that, man, I want to play with these faders. Okay, let's hit this button, you know,
yes.
and to try to get it right. And then I realized you could edit. Oh, wait a minute, this runs 61 minutes. We got to get this down.
In 2011, one man armed only with a microphone set out to find and subsequently promote comedy podcasts. That man was Marc Hershon. The podcast was Succotash. He would boldly delve into the ether to find shows that he thought would be worth listening to. The show fast became the #1 comedy podcast, and Marc Hershon quickly became a household name amongst podcasters and podcast listeners alike. As one podcast duo dubbed him, the Podfather became a legend. Soon people even started calling podcasts soundcasts after he championed the movement to change the name. Though not many, to be honest. And now, 10 years on, Succotash is still doing its thing. Congratulations, Marc, on keeping the pot boiling for all this time. Here's to another 10 years. Cheers. Yeah, who needs a pop filter?
And I loved working with our musical director, Joe. Our musical director,
Scott Carvey.
Yeah, it was fun to play with his little music beds and stuff.
Yeah, he gave us all our tracks, and I guess kind of an unknown element of Joe's speciality is when we redid the opening to Succotash, Scott's rendition of saying soundcasts.
No, he said podcast.
Podcasts. We would change podcast to soundcast, and I couldn't get Scott to go back into the studio and do it. So Joe created.
I mean, you can't duplicate Scott Carvey.
No, but
still, we needed to do it, and it was. It's always fun to work with those and to like say, oh well. We need this thing to keep going on. Okay, da-da-da-da-da, edit. Da-da-da-da-da, edit. Da-da-da.
Copy, paste,
absolutely.
Well, if Bill is vertical, do you want to give him a nudge
yes. Mark, I wanted to talk with you.
Yes, Bill.
You know, I would tell you, I was really at the bottom when you found me and hired me. I mean, you can look on my Facebook page. I have been everywhere, man. And
that's true.
I was about to just sort of hang up the old ice skates, and I was rejuvenated. And I remember when, you know, boozing with Bill, I learned a valuable lesson.
What was that lesson?
Straight out of the bottle. you know, really, all that frou-frou shit I went through to try to be entertaining.
Yeah.
I just think I keep coming back home, which is just pour it right out of the bottle and pour it right into your mouth, and it's very simple. It's alcohol the way God intended it, really. You know, that's just and that's. I mean, you can try different things. I mean, there's Maker's Mark, and there's Booker's, and there's, you know, Weasel Piss and Angel Fart, and they're all wonderful. But you know, you try them, and maybe ice. But I don't, you know, I was trying to be clever. Maybe I'll be clever again, but right now I'm just really into it for the drinking of it.
I understand, but you came up with some, what you did was you carried over some great traditional beverage mixes from some of the fine radio stations that you worked with.
That's true, and I learned from the best. The one that I still regret, but in a way I don't, because I got to see the look on your face when it hit your taste buds, was when we did barbecue punch. Oh, my God.
Barbecue punch.
I remember I was aiming for something. Please forgive me. I was aiming for something.
With actual barbecue sauce.
I just thought, well, you know, they say, oh, this barbecue is whiskey barrel braised, you know, and well, why don't we just put the barbecue sauce in there? And it just didn't work. I mean, it was a great idea. Really, it was. It was a great idea. Will you give me that? Will you just give me that? Damn it, It was a great idea.
Bill, if you've got the copy there, why don't we help out Old Man Henderson?
Yes, okay, very good.
And give this live reading.
Wait, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. All right? I think it goes something like this. Treasured friends, when Henderson's Pants first hitched our britches to Succotash 10 years ago, we never in our wildest dreams imagined this Soundcast showcase would still be around. Or me, for that matter. And as a long-term partner on this crazy journey, we have introduced some of our most unique and outrageous pants, slacks, and trousers in the world together. Who can forget Henderson's picnic pants, fancy pants for fops, and my personal favorite, turtleneck slacks, in honor of a decade of bringing the internet the very best of whatever the hell it is that Marc Hershon and Tyson Saner, the hosts of Succotash, have been doing. Henderson's Masters of Trousery have celebrated our celebratory anniversary pants. And this marks the 10th year of Soundcast goodness. Each pair of these trousers are made of tin, the traditional material used to celebrate a decade of togetherness. And as you wear Henderson's anniversary pants, they will never lose their crease or cuff since they're fashioned from this sturdy metal. What's more, each pair becomes individualized as they begin to rust in unique patterns as soon as they start to get wet, whether that's from the outside from rain or the inside from your perspiration. Or, well, you know, no matter how you prance and dance, the last drop will go down your pants. Well, and just like the Tin Woodsman from The Wizard of Oz, you'd soon lose your ability to move, which is why Henderson's includes a free oil can to keep your joints and crotch well lubricated. Also included is a free EpiPen containing a fast-acting tetanus shot, just in case you cut yourself on a rusty cuff or zipper. Oops, ow, owie. Originally made for Marc Hershon, Tyson Saner, and Joe Paulino, who spells his last name Paulino, Henderson's new anniversary pants are available wherever fine weather vanes and storage sheds are sold. Happy Pants-iversary, Succotash, from everyone at Henderson's Pants, makers of fine bottom huggers and panty wasters since 1623. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. And please, Joe,
Bill, how come you don't do first take only when I'm recording you, Bill? You wait till the chips are down and then you finally, I got to piece you together one sentence at a time.
And
it's the audience, Joe. It's the audience. You know.
Apologies for my spell checking there, Joe, for your last name. Of course, I know how you.
Well, you know, I'm used to it, but
I know. But I was.
Bill is looking out for me. I appreciate that.
That's what
Bill.
he does.
I appreciate it. Man.
I secretly think you guys are related somehow, like he's an uncle or something. But
are you kidding me?
Why else would you take him in? Quite frankly,
you know, it's because of guys like that I am here. Really, I mean, they greased the alleyway of success for me, so I just had to slide right in and grab the dingleberry of abundance.
We have to have you actually on the show more often, Joe,
if it wasn't,
I mean, that turn of phrase.
Well, I don't know, but think about it. I mean, if it weren't for guys like Bill, guys like me would not be able to, wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now with you. You know, so I tip my hat to him.
Very good point.
The old lush.
So,
a rare treat to watch him do his thing live as well.
Right.
You know, I asked Bill, and Bill said to me that he is merely the amalgam of the hand gestures of every announcer he's ever worked with. That's the thing. I mean, he can remember like 7 announcers and say, well, so-and-so would do it like this, and so-and-so would do it like this, and so-and-so would do it like this. And he says it's all in the hand gestures.
Wow.
I remember back when we were working in Studio P, and we had live co-hosts, and Phil Ernest from Chill Pack Hollywood was the co-host. And,
what a sweetheart, man. I really like him.
But I remember the first time he was co-hosting, and he was up in San Francisco, so we had him come into the studio. And the look on his face when he saw Bill Heywatt suddenly enter the studio was like he'd seen a star he'd only heard about from astronomers.
Yeah, that's really kind of interesting, because some people actually think that I am Bill Heywatt, and for him to actually see Bill, and that Bill is this separate person.
Yes.
I just think that finally the rumors, it's this whole Paul is dead.
Yeah, it's the whole Superman Clark Kent thing. It's right. When have you seen the two of them together?
Yeah. Right? You don't piss on Superman's cape.
Exactly.
Don't mess around with Jim.
This is Phil Lernis from your Chill Pack Hollywood Hour.
And this is your friend of podcasting, Dean Haglett.
Dean?
Yes, Phil?
Do you know why I want to record a message to Succotash wishing them a happy 10th anniversary?
Because they're such good friends to us over the years?
That's not the reason.
Well, because you're a big fan of their show.
I am, but that's not the reason.
I give up then. Why are we recording a message to say happy 10th anniversary?
Because they asked us to.
You're an idiot.
I can edit all this out.
Yeah, please do.
What would you say instead?
I'd say happy 10th anniversary and keep passing the Succotash.
That probably is better.
Yeah.
And then we ad-lib to ending.
That's what we're doing. I was ad-libbing to the beginning, actually.
Hey, Mark. Francis Cronin here. I just wanted to wish you absolutely huge congratulations on 10 years of Succotash. That's no mean feat. That is no mean feat. And when I was on it many moons ago, it was the biggest podcast, and this is true, the biggest response I ever got on social media was from your podcast. And I always thought, this is only the beginning. But I haven't managed to rival the response yet. You're one of the best to do it, Mark. You're a great guy, and your energy is through the roof. I wish you and your team continued success for the next 10 years, my brother. Awesome work. Succotash to the moon.
Listener, this is Jeffrey Welchman broadcasting from the cavernous Poison Dart Studios facility in Smaltimore, Maryland. The music behind me is from my dimly remembered Inverse Delirium podcast of the early teens. I was also responsible for its Parsec Award finalist successor, the Reigning Lunatic podcast miniseries of 2015, the year of the great ukulele scare. Now that I've buttered myself up, let me be the next to hurl congratulatory utterances in the general direction of Marc Hershon, philosopher, scholar, friend, and foe. To do so, I'll switch to the second person to better simulate sincerity. Succotash was a hugely important podcast for me right from the start. First, because you exposed me to so many other funny podcasters, some of whom became pod buds, many of whom became guests, so Succotash was a great cross-pollinator. Second, because you were hugely supportive. You featured sketches from both my podcasts and appeared in both of them. Remember this?
This is an important announcement from your power consortium on the approaching weather system, now renamed as Satan's Maelstrom. We now can promise that your power will be out, whether or not the storm strikes the area. Set fire to furniture on an as-needed basis. Best wishes.
And fourth, you're a groovy guy. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and considering you a friend. So to you and your faithful inheritor, Tyson, but mostly you, no offense, Tyson, congratulations on a true achievement. 10 years is nothing to shake a stick at. So please stop shaking that stick at me. Congratulations, Marcus Aurelius Hershon. 10 years of Succotash.
Who left that there?
So I wanted to kind of close things off with sort of a serious discussion about this whole podcast versus soundcast.
That's your battle, man. I'm sorry. Do I have to?
No. I'm saying.
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying. Really, go, man.
As,
really,
as,
okay.
As we move into the 10th or through the 10th anniversary for this show. Should we just drop this whole soundcast rigmarole thing and just embrace the podcast title?
Well, you know, I would say I don't really have a dog in this horse race, but I would say that if Apple can take iTunes and just call it music, I mean, they've even backed away from their own branding.
That's true.
You know, so you know, if they're going to do that, then you know, Soundcast. It's not even the iPod anymore. I know. I mean, you know, it's your.
Which is why we moved away from it.
It's your little Trojan horse.
Yeah. Tyson, thoughts?
I think it's carved a unique niche in podcasting history, for what it's worth. I suppose. I mean, if, 10 more years from now, when people look back on the first 10 years, 10 to 15 years of podcasting, who are these soundcasting people? Well, hopefully they'll figure it out before that. But that
it's kind of like the Know Nothing Party, really. I mean, not that they knew nothing. It's just it's a unique part of our history, and it's a unique part of podcasting history. The man who refused, he was a soundcaster, and he soundcasted.
Exactly. I have been able to convince several different soundcasters to actually start using the term. None of those shows are are out there anymore, unfortunately.
Oh no!
Wow.
But you know what? You guys have convinced me. I think we're going to stick with the soundcasting moniker.
Mm-hmm.
And just,
well, you're a namer, man.
I am.
Excuse me. You named it.
I did, and I've mentioned this numerous times on the show. If I'm truly the naming guru that I claim to be with so many of these products that I've named over the years, why did I name this show Succotash, which people cannot spell? And 25% of the people I talk to have never heard of Succotash and have no idea what it even is.
They never watched Warner Brothers cartoons, I guess.
I suppose. I don't know.
God.
One person who has watched Warner Brothers cartoons was Andy Dick, who immediately thought of Sylvester when I said what the name of the show was.
Yes, it comes to mind. Of course it does. All right. Well, we'll stick with Soundcast.
Hey, well, we'll talk about this in the 20th anniversary.
That's right.
We'll reassess.
Will Bill still be with us?
It's in flux.
Will Bill still be with us, do you think?
Well, I've been around, I'm actually a clone. There are closets full of me in different, I exist. There's a clone of Bill Heywatt in every small market station throughout the universe.
That's why you sound so familiar.
Yes, I'm here.
We've been hearing you everywhere forever.
Yes, so I'm really part. I am the announcer of Zombie Apocalypse.
Hello, this is Megan from Screams and Moans. Before I even started soundcasting, Succotash is where I found a number of amazing shows, met a number of friends, and was lucky enough to have Succotash support Screams and Moans by sharing our clips throughout my soundcast career. Where would many of us be without Succotash? I don't want to know. Congratulations on 10 years, and here's to many more.
So, pop quiz.
Pop quiz.
What number do the following have in common?
Okay.
Where the United Kingdom Prime Minister and General all-round bellend, Alexander de Boris Pfeffel Prickhead Johnson, live? What film did Dudley Moore get to bang Mo Derek? The number of years that Succotash, the podcast, has been going, and the length of my penis in inches.
3?
No.
Really?
Boris Johnson doesn't have a number 3.
Are we talking inches or centimetres?
It's been unseasonably cold.
Right, okay, so we're talking centimetres, aren't we?
Thank you. Thanks for that.
I therefore assume you're talking the number 10.
Yes. The most important thing there is Succotash is 10. Succotash is 10 years old.
You'll never.
Keep it the fuck away from Prince Andrew. Technically, if it had hair, Joe Biden would want to sniff it.
Controversial.
I know. But yeah, Succotash is 10 years old. The great show, Succotash, the podcast. What is it?
Podcast or podcast?
I don't remember. They got a tagline, I'm sure of it. I can't remember what it is. But Succotash, the podcast is 10 years old. Let's rewind. Hello, I'm Dr. Norman Trousers.
I forgot I wasn't. Which is about carries on with our theme. So I am River Zambezi.
And we're from the Customer Podcast. You may know us if you've listened to podcasts more than 4 years ago. Yeah, so we're here just to say hello to the lovely Marc Hershon and the equally, slightly less lovely Tyson Saner. Say congratulations and welcome. Welcome? No, congratulations for 10 years. 10 years of the Customer Podcast. Not the Customer Podcast.
No, it's not ours.
Succotash. The Succotash show. The Succotash show.
Succotash.
Clearly, you haven't heard of the Casbah podcast. Why would you? We haven't done anything for fucking ages. But from a long time ago, back in the day...
in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, it was in black and white, mono. We do some stuff every now and again. We might do it again. Who knows? But we're here just to say thank you very much mainly to Mark. Tyson, you're all right, but you haven't really helped out. But Mark, thank you for the fact that you have given a voice to so many different podcasts, and so, to expand our reach, not in a sexual way, to lots of people. The Succotash show is very, very dear to our hearts, and it's really important, and also really supportive of a lot of independent podcasts. That's what I'm basically trying to say. And we really appreciate your support for our show, and we appreciate your support for other shows, and we appreciate other things like Honey Roasted Peanuts. But the main takeaway is we're really sorry this has taken so long, but we wish Succotash an awesome next 10 years, hopefully, and thank you very, very much for everything, including the key rings and the slight rimming.
And we hope to appear on the show again one day.
That too. I'm sorry, I said rimming.
You said ribbing.
Rimming.
Rimming.
Hershow, Matt Knutson here with heartfelt congratulations on the 10-year anniversary of the Succotash podcast. Man, I haven't even been doing comedy for 10 years. And I started in 2001. So congratulations to you on a phenomenal podcast that is hilarious and illuminating and also helps shine a light on other podcasters and creatives as well. So a high tide raises all the boats. Congrats, Mark. Happy 10, and can't wait to listen to 10 more years. Peace.
Hey, this is drlennonsmith.com from the Jock Doc podcast. Here to wish you a happy anniversary. Now, normally we would, I would have flowers and stuff, but I did forget this year. I forgot about the anniversary, and, it's 10 years, so you figure that I should have remembered and that it would be a big deal for me, and maybe you're looking at me thinking I'm not prioritizing you. In any case, so it turns out there's a virus going around, and so, it's super hard to get a reservation at some restaurants. So that's been an issue for me. But in any case, go ahead and Google pictures of restaurants and flowers and chocolates, and have a happy 10th anniversary. Succotash.
Well, on that note, gentlemen, I think that we'll wind down this auspicious episode of Succotash, the comedy soundcasts, the first episode of season 5. And I want to thank both of you for your invaluable contributions over the last 10 years that this show has been cranking out into the universe.
Mark, I've known you a very long time. I mean, there was that time in between where I didn't know you, but I knew you back then and I know you now. And it's always been fun. I'm so appreciative, I mean, you come with these great ideas. You're so easy to work with. You give me absolute permission to explore, and you're so much fun to play with, and I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Joe and Bill. Thank you so much.
Oh, listen, I don't have an outro like an intro, but I'll try.
Well, wait a minute, Tyson. Any final words before we...
I just wanted to say I'm very grateful to have been included in this for the last 9 years of my life. It's been fun. It's been really interesting, and it's I don't have anything else to compare it to. Because it's amazing. As far as I know, I only get this one life, so it's been a good time, and I've been very, very happy to be a part of.
We're so happy to have you as part of this.
Oh, thank you.
It's great to meet you, Tyson.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm spacing out. Did you get the thing I sent you? You got it, right?
I did actually. It's here. Yeah.
Oh, hey! Thank
you so much.
Okay.
Yeah,
I understand that you shared some of that on the show, and I appreciate it. For those of you listening, he held up my a poem that I had written. There's like 5 copies, and you've got one of them.
Oh, thanks so much.
And before we get out of here, though, we forgot to even talk about the last year that Joe, you've been doing, or you were doing, TrumpPoetry.com. I mean, we mentioned every episode of the show.
I did Trump Poetry for almost 4 years. I started in March of 2017. And I wrote poem. I was mostly limericks.
Yeah.
And I wrote a bunch of sonnets. And I wrote some really pretty decent parodies. But I'd say, like, in the back of my mind, I thought, how am I going to go out? I want to end with something interesting. And I have never gotten along with Allen Ginsberg's Howl. But I thought, this was at a time when we were all going out at 7 o'clock at night and going, oh. And I thought, I'm howling. So I thought, well, maybe I'll work on Howl. And I sort of, if you take Allen Ginsberg's Howl, which is groundbreaking, and then you take Joe Paulino's Howl and you go stanza by stanza, you'll see, like, I took something from almost every one to say, all right, here, I'm having a conversation with you. And I became much more appreciative of where he was coming from and what he was talking about and the pictures he was painting and how he loved taking things like hydrogen, jukebox. It's like these 2 words that should not be together, and all of a sudden they're in your head, and what will they do when they get there? So he was, in listening to him talk about that stuff, it was quite inspirational. I'm glad it's over.
Yes, but it was quite a push for that long period of time to be doing, and they're still up on the web, so people can still enjoy
1,400 poems, over 1,400 daily. I had surgery. I was, during that 4 years, I was in recovery or whatever. Well, not that kind of recovery, but recovery. Recovering, and 4 years or whatever.
Every day.
Then, there was one I wrote in December or something like that, where in the beginning it was called Wuhan coronavirus, and I asked people like, I'm looking for rhymes with virus, and so people would send me their rhymes with virus, and I took the ones that I liked the most, and I ended every line with iris, so I could go no antidote Wuhan coronavirus, because that was what we called it at the time. That was COVID-19.
All right.
Anyway, thanks for asking.
Would have been remiss to get out without mentioning that valuable contribution to
it's amazing
world of poetry.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
So, Bill, do you have something to get us out of here with?
You've been listening to the 10th anniversary of Succotash with your hosts of hosts, Tyson Saner, Marc Hershon, and a special guest appearance from Joe Paulino. And Succotash is brought to you by Henderson's Pants. And imagine your company's name right here. Find us on the web at succotashshow.com, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on iHeartRadio, on YouTube, on SoundCloud, and on the laughable app. You can hear us streaming and like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Succotash Show. Email us at marc@succotashshow.com. Or call into the Succotash Skype line at our toll call number 1-818-921-7212. That's 818-921-7212. You can also upload clips from your favorite comedy soundcasts directly to us using our direct upload link at hightail.com/u/Succotash. Succotash is spelled Succotash. Succotash is produced and engineered by Joe Paulino through the auspices of Studio P. Sausalito, the home of the hit. Our hosts are Marc Hershon and Tyson Saner. Our musical director is Scott Carvey. Our booth assistant was Kenny Durgis. Kenny wasn't here right now. Until next time, I'm your loyal booth announcer, Bill Heywatt, reminding you to please pass the Succotash. Goodbye. This has been a Succotash Patch production.